Aloha and welcome. In this video, we're going to be talking about email security, something that's very important to all of us. If you look in your junk folder, you'll see lots of examples of reasons why we want our email to be a little bit secure. So there's different ways of securing our email. One way is through something called Sender Policy Frameworks, or SPFs. So SPF is an email authentication method it ensures the sending mail server is authorized to send the emails from their domain. Also, it's implemented using something called an SPF TXT record in a domain's DNS record. So that's a lot of acronyms there. So let's go back and remember what DNS is. DNS is a domain name server, and DNS works in a hierarchical structure. So within each one of these DNS servers, we have domains, and the domains have a number of records associated with them. There's name server records, there's A records, C name records, mail records, all kinds of records. One of these record types that's associated with a domain is going to be an SPF record, and that stands for the Sender Policy Framework. So that record it specifies that authorized email senders, it basically specifies the authorized email senders from that domain. So it'll have, let's say, a number of IP addresses for the servers that are allowed to send from there. So SPF, it's going to improve the email security by reducing the risk of phishing attacks when where attackers are trying to impersonate a trusted domain. So the other thing we can do is we can use DKIM. DKIM is domain keys identified mail. So SPF verifies that email was sent from an authorized mail server, but it does not confirm the authenticity of the mail's content. So that's why we use DKIM. So DKIM, it's an email authentication method that uses digital signatures to verify that an email was sent and authorized by the owner of the sending domain. So implementing DKIM, it requires adding a domain's public key to the domain's DNS records and embedding the DKIM signature header in every email sent. So the DKIM signature header, it includes a digital signature that's verified by the receiving mail server using that domain public key. So DKIM, it's going to improve the email security by verifying the sender's identity and the integrity of the message content. So DKIM, it helps mitigate email-based threats such as spoofing, tampering, phishing attacks that rely on forging the sender information to deceive the recipients. And there's a really good participation activity in the text that goes through this whole process of sending it and then verifying the different piece of information. So it's great that we've got SPF and DKIM. And the aim of that is to prevent fraudulent emails by verifying the email sending domain. But there's a weakness in there. And that weakness is that a receiving mail server that rejects all the SPF or DKIM failures may actually unintentionally reject legitimate emails. And the problem with that is when it does reject them, there's no notification sent that there's been an authentication failure and, hey, we're rejecting it. So it could be just sending it off into, you're sending all these emails, you think you're, doing everything just right. You're getting no feedback loop there, so you don't know that these things are failing. Well, how does that happen? Well, let's say that you're using an ISP out there, an internet service provider, or not just an ISP, but let's say you're using a hosting service and you're hosting at like HostGator or Nixie Host or somewhere like that. So you've got your server up there. All you know is that you're setting up your server to use a certain IP address. You've set things up. What happens if they add mail servers to their configuration? All of a sudden, it may be no longer going from the same place. So you may be using other mail servers on there to send your stuff, and you're not aware of that. So because you're not aware of it, you're not updating your SPF records. So if they've added servers in that you're going to start using automatically, and you've got an SPF record that doesn't take into account these new IP addresses, you could be failing in sending out all these and not even know it. So that's the downside. So you do have that danger of not getting any kind of failure notifications when you add in that server. So there's this thing called DMARC, and DMARC is domain-based message authentication, reporting, and conformance. That's an email authentication protocol that secures email communications by verifying the sender identities. It's going to specify actions for the authentication failures, and it's going to provide reporting on email delivery and integrity. So DMARC, it's going to use the SPF and DKIM that we talked about, the verification mechanisms to enforce and enhance the email security policies. But it also includes information such as, it's got a number of things like P. P is going to be the policy indicating the requested action for an email that fails the DMARC check, and you can do reject, quarantine, or none. You can set the percentage of received emails to which the policy can be applied, and that's the PCT. Then there's RUA, which addresses to which aggregate reports should be sent. So that's going to be an email address. And then you're going to have addresses to which failure reports should be sent, and that's the RUF. So you can set these things to in DMARC records to specify, how to handle it. This is your policy basically for handling those incoming emails. So there's another great participation activity in there that shows you how this works. The last thing we want to talk about is email gateways. An email gateway is a server that processes an organization's incoming and outgoing email to protect the organization's internal server. So before it even gets to your internal server, your email gateway is going to be scanning it, and it's going to reject unwanted emails and forwarding the ones that are deemed as legitimate into the internal server. So it's not even get through that email gateway to your server if things are a little bit hinky. So anyway, that's it for this video. I hope that makes good sense to you. Again, a recap of it. For email security, we talk about using sender policy frameworks, SPFs. We also talk about using DKIM, the domain keys identified mail. Weakness in using these two, it's great to use them, but the downside is if you have a situation where you're let's say you add that new mail server and forget to update your SPF record in your DNS settings, then you could be getting rejections and not even know about it. So therefore, we like to use DMARC. DMARC is domain-based message authentication, reporting, and conformance. That's going to give you the ability to add that safeguard. So you're going to be able to say, hey, send aggregate reports to here, send failure reports to here. This is a percentage of received emails to which the policy should be applied. And it's also going to tell you what to do when it fails the DMARC check, reject it, quarantine it, or do nothing. So, and then lastly, we talked about email gateways, which is a server that's checking your email before it even gets to your internal server. It's going to throw out anything that sees as being suspicious, and then letting everything else go into the internal server. So that's it for this video. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and I'd be happy to help you. Aloha.